Welcome to today's ASCI webinar. It's a masterclass on leading your team to industry award status. Just a technical check to start with. If you could raise your hand if you can hear me, please. Fantastic. Thank you. If you do have any technical issues during the session today, simply reply in the chat box, which I've just opened up saying thanks, enjoy, and we'll help you out there. I'm Monique Fennick from Australasian Supply Chain Institute, and I'm really pleased today to be taking you through our awards masterclass with our host, Inderjeet Verdi. So let's kick off, first of all, with an introduction to Inderjeet. Inderjeet is a director on the ASCI board and has been the head awards judge for many years now, even when the awards were part of the SMART conference, you might remember. Inderjeet is a business transformation leader, experienced in business strategy, portfolio management, procurement and contract management, asset management, system assurance and operational integration competencies. He's worked in complex, highly regulated and commercially driven public and private sectors. And having worked with Inderjeet for quite some years now, I can vouch for the fact that he's a team player and establishes inclusive and sustainable relationships, enhancing collaboration between business functions partners and others to build and sustain a high-performing culture. So no better person to be running today's masterclass than you, Inderjeet. Can you please raise your hands and help me welcome Inderjeet to today's webinar? Over to you, Inderjeet.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Monique, for this quite an extensive introduction for me. I'm really honored to be part of the ASCI Award program this year. As you mentioned, I've been part of this program for last, I would say, I think from SMART Conference 2015, 2017, and 2019, and now we have 2021 coming along. So great to be here. And what I would like to do is today, I would walk you through to various award categories that we have available for 2021. We'll walk through the judging process and what the award assessment criteria is. And I would also like to bring to your attention, we have one testimonial about the benefits of participating in the award process. And also there are some best practice guidance, again, from an organization who was a winner last year. So without much ado, I would like to move to the next page. So essentially, we had the awards in the following areas, following categories. One is the supply chain management and distribution, excellence in manufacturing supply chains, excellence in transport and logistics, excellence in procurement, excellence in humanitarian and military logistics, and diversity and inclusion. The award in diversity and inclusion was introduced only last year. And this year we have a couple of new awards that we have added, which is on the supply chain sustainability and digital transformation. These are the new awards that you will see, and then you will see a lot more detail around those and which organizations can participate in these new awards as well. And then there was an award which was previously called Individual Award for Excellence. It's now been renamed with some additional criteria called Supply Chain Leaders Award. So the next few minutes, what I would like to do is I'd like to walk you through some of the detailed, bit of a deep dive, I should say, into these award categories. What do these mean? What their scope is, and what do the judges look for in these submissions? The first one is the supply chain management and distribution. This award will be granted to companies that can demonstrate significant achievement in process of handling and storing materials at the stage of supply chain, any stage of supply chain management. and the process improvements to aspects such as management of raw materials, inventory management, distribution, fulfillment, shipping, freight forwarding, wholesale and retail operations will be sought. The technology enhancement to equipment, facility design, and generally automation, I think that would be part of this particular scope. And I will explain the difference between the digital transformation award, and then there are some overlap with the technology applications in these. Almost all awards will have some element of that. Applicants should be capable of providing evidence supporting how these improvements and innovations have impacted the organizations, and also demonstrate the implications for use in the wider industry context. So this is the first award that is essentially focusing on supply chain management and distribution function. The next one is the manufacturing supply chain. So this award is in reference to the outstanding performance during the manufacturing process related to production, inventory management, and or stock control. So this is more inward looking award for an organization from the organization's perspective. Judges will be looking for examples of re-engineering or design for logistics flow, supply chain integration, forecasting, scheduling, and plant layout. The impact on the smooth flow of materials through the production cycle, enhanced inventory management practice, and control of stock and related efficiencies should be demonstrated. So those of you who are already in the manufacturing kind of environment, you can relate with these elements that we have talked about. The benefits of streamlining the manufacturing process should be shown, and with regard to the cost management and the efficiency of operation and impact on the integrated supply chain. As you can see that the supply chain is a concept which demonstrate the connectedness of our functions and activities. So we need to be able to see that if we are making a difference in one element of that, there should be a flow on benefit. And I think the bigger the benefit and the bigger the visibility that we can demonstrate in terms of the its impact on the supply chain, I think that would be fantastic. Um, Moving on, the next one is the transport and logistics. This award will go to an organization that can demonstrate the excellence in improving transport of goods or services, either locally or internationally. The judges will be looking for examples of significant achievement, innovation, and improvements in any aspect of any mode of transport, not just the road transport, but it includes the shipping and rail freight and so on. Judges will be looking for examples of significant achievement, innovation, and improvements in any aspect of any mode of transport and associated logistics. So areas to be considered include equipment, technology, human resources, organization impact. Again, as you can see that the the end of this whole thing is that any initiative that you have, it needs to demonstrate, it needs to result in some benefit. So the benefit of improvements or innovations, particularly in cost control, profits, customer service, and streamlining of operations should be demonstrated. So that's what the judges would be looking for in this particular award. The next one is the excellence in procurement. And as you can see, I think some of you might be part of the procurement function, and often you would see that procurement function somehow is seen to be separate from supply chain in that sense. But that's the matter of semantics. But I think in this particular context, we need to understand that the procurement is the one which makes supply chain happen, because supply chain contracts and those relationships are emerged through the procurement function. So this award will be presented to recognize the excellence in procurement within context of overall supply chain flow from the supplier through the consumers. The way in which the procurement contribution has benefited all stakeholders in procurement process will be considered. Entries should highlight the excellence in negotiation, outsourcing, onshoring, and offshoring service agreements and contract performance management, and then the supply chain resilience and risk management. These are the elements that we consider are more important from the procurement perspective, considering the current pandemic crisis and how the procurement function has new challenges ahead. So it's not just the establishing a contract with one supplier, but then that supplier needs to have visibility. client needs to have visibility across the where the supplier is getting their supplies from, and so on and so forth. So that's where the connectedness of the agreements come in. Judges will place emphasis on the way in which the procurement contribution has benefited all stakeholders in the procurement process. So I think it's about the building up that the supply chain visibility and how the procurement function has really made that contribution, and what new processes they have put in place, and how they have engaged with the suppliers networks, and so on and so forth. And also trying to ensure that there is a, I mentioned about the supply chain resilience, and do we have the alternative supply sources in that sense, or are we locked into just a single country, single supply sources, and that sort of thing, as we have seen again in context of our, pandemic scenario. The more and more companies are now looking for alternative ways in which they can still ensure the business continuity going forward. The next category is the excellence in event, humanitarian, and military logistics. This is a very unique award. This award will be presented to Australian organization that can demonstrate significant achievement in the supply chain, supporting a major event, humanitarian relief effort, or military customer anywhere in Asia Pacific area would enter this award. And there have been a number of organizations who have responded very well in case of the recent bushfires, and also some of them are quite active in the forefront even during the pandemic situation as well. And I'm really looking forward to many organizations who could potentially see how they have demonstrated their resilience, and how they have ensured that the goods and services that they supply, and they have ensured their customers' business continuity. So judges will place emphasis on the efficiency with which the supply chain is developed and integrated, the contribution of the supply chain to the success of the mission, task, or event, and the effectiveness of the pump out in reducing the footprints afterwards. So this is like cleaning up after you deliver the service and then move on. Entries should demonstrate innovation, speed of development and delivery, adherence to project timelines, and enhanced inventory management practices, and efficient workforce management, multi-agency integration, planned and well-executed transitions, and effective equipment, stores recovery, and minimal impact on the environment. So I think there is a lot in there, but some of the previous participants who have faced the severe storm and weather conditions, and how they have managed their distribution centers, and how they have identified the alternatives and still continued their supplies to their customers. So I think there have been some really good examples from the previous experience I can mention here. So I really look forward to seeing a good sort of spread of submissions in this particular area as well. Moving on, we have, this is the award which was introduced in this portfolio last year, in 2019, that is, in ASCI 2019 conference. This award honors an organization that displays exceptional commitment to diversity and inclusion, fosters professional environments that value equality and individual differences, and implement programs that have proven successful results in the areas of organization outcomes and career progression. So basically here, the idea here is that the diversity and inclusion has been there in the conversation for many years, and some organizations have really demonstrated their real commitment. But the idea here is to take it to the next level, and then make sure that the concept of diversity and inclusion is embraced organization-wide. And we would like to see the organizations who have gone beyond just lip service, if I just want to use this loose word, but we need to say real commitment to the diversity and inclusion program. So judges will be looking for outstanding contribution of an employee network that has tackled issues internally and externally to influence the change in the field of equality and diversity, along with examples of significant, innovative, and cumulative outstanding contribution to improving, enhancing the practice of equality and diversity. And here it is not just about employment related procedures, but really engaging with the diverse workforce and engaging with the diverse customers and engaging with the diverse suppliers and making sure that we are leveraging and each one have um, great contribution to make to the organization. So this is the main focus of this particular award. And uh, and and we have judges on the panel for the diversity and who have done several years of work in diversity and inclusion space, and then um, they would really be looking forward to receiving some good submissions in this area as well. There's another, the new award, which is the Excellence in Supply Chain Sustainability. So in this is a new award, as I mentioned earlier. The organizations that have established the supply chain sustainability as an organizational focus area and demonstrated integration with internal business processes. And I think you have, as I just mentioned a couple of slides ago, about the importance of demonstrating supply chain resilience and managing the risk. And I think you will see that the ensuring that the supply chains designs are sustainable and ensuring that the organization embraces that concept of sustainability truly across all the functional areas. So judges will be looking at projects and initiatives that demonstrate the alignment of um, with the organization's strategic direction in context of sustainability, demonstrate clear, measurable outcomes supported by evidence of cultural change. So again, it needs to be embraced and it needs to be part of the, in a way, if I use another analogy, say DNA of the organization, that yes, everyone would be um, walking the talk of sustainability. And that's what we're looking for in this particular case. The next one is yes, this is a new award. This is the Excellence in Digital Transformations. So now you have seen that many organizations in the supply chain world, they have been using a range of solutions which are enabled by ICT systems and applications and so on. So what is happening here is that this is a separate award which basically um, differentiates that it goes beyond the traditional technology automation and ICT applications like ERP and warehouse management systems and so on. But here, this is going beyond and then looking at the innovative projects that involve applications of, say, artificial intelligence or machine learning, blockchains, IoT, Industry 4.0, and their integration with the business processes. So I think this is going to be quite interesting, and I again see quite a number of organizations to participate in this particular area and also demonstrate their achievements to their peers. The next one is the Supply Chain Leaders Award. Now, this award used to be previously called the Individual Award for Excellence, and this award recognizes an individual who has provided an outstanding contribution to the profession of supply chain management in Australia. So judges will be looking for individuals who have made wider contribution to the supply chain community and their demonstrated experience as a supply chain practitioner and their leadership impact with the capacity to drive change for better. And the change for better includes how they have influenced professionalizing the supply chain and how they have contributed in various advocacy opportunities with governments and other industry bodies. So you will see that we have made slight change in the criteria, but majority of the other attributes remain the same as they were before for the individual, for the Excellence Award for the individual. So these are the awards that we currently have and we are promoting for the ASCI 2021. And these awards would be announced at the ASCI 2021 conference, and then you will see the details later down in this presentation. Now, before I reach to that, I think let's get into the judging process. So we have the submissions coming from various organizations and how these submissions are looked at, who looks at them, and so on and so forth. So judging process essentially looks at the award submissions in various categories are judged by the panel of judges, and each award submission is reviewed independently by at least two judges. So it is not, basically to avoid any personal bias and so on. The judges review the submission against award criteria and provide a score and their reasoning for their score, which they have to write down, a couple of statements that why they have given us an entry 7 against the criteria versus 9 on the other submission and that sort of thing. So we have a fully documented judging process which can withstand the test of probity in case there is a complaint or any internal review that we need to undertake internally by ASCI. Any divergent scores are discussed by the panel and submissions reviewed and scored again. So when I say divergent scores, so it means that sometimes when individual judges may look at the score and then the scores may not come close, and one judge might say 9 against a particular attribute, another might say no, it's 2, and then we need to understand that what their reasoning has been, and then we try to review the content which is given in the submission, and then it is rescored. And if it is not resolved, then we also have a adjudication process as well, which is independent of the panel of judges. So it'll be another independent individual who would be adjudicating these issues. And submissions are then ranked to identify the winning submissions and the highly recommended entries in that, and then they are announced at the award night. Now let me go to the next page, and that's about the judging criteria. Now you've seen there are a number of award categories, and then what we have tried to do is we've tried to identify the criteria for excellence, so to speak, which cuts across all the award categories. Obviously, the subject matter content would vary from category to category, but then the criteria is consistently applied, looking at the things like quality, the benefit, innovation, the practices, communication, the speed of execution, the integration with the other business systems, and then obviously the delivery, that is the execution. So the idea is that each of these criteria would be then scored against a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best and the 1 being the least favored, so to speak. So so you can read the description. The way the judges would look at that is that to what extent the project and strategy, I'm reading the second one, the benefit, to what extent the project and strategy delivered contribution to the organization involved and the industry and economy and or the environment. So looking at the broader benefits across the organization, industry, economy, and the environment. So if a submission has those elements which is the benefits are not limited to only organization, for example, and then their impact has gone across to their supplier networks and also the wider economy, and also they've done contribution to the environment, then you will see that one could get a score of 9 as opposed to, let's say, someone whose benefits are only local benefits, and then they might get say 5 or 6 in that sense. So this is just one example of how the criteria is applied. The judges, before they commence the work, they walk through the entire judging process and the procedures they need to sign. I would be talking these things in the next slide anyway, but I just want to point you to there is a star down at the bottom which says these criteria is excludes the supply chain leaders award because that's more individualized award. So we have a separate set of criteria. I haven't included that in this today's presentation, but certainly it's available, and it will be available when the awards are launched, and then you will see that what questions are required to be answered if someone is wanting to participate in the Supply Chain Leaders Award. Moving on, Monique. Yes, thank you. Uh, so the judging panel comprises experienced professionals who basically um, they express their interests. So the panel is established based on an EOI process, and the judges, they need to declare the conflict of interest with the organization, and also uh, the submission they might be reviewing. The judges need to confirm compliance with the judging process and procedures. As I said, there is a fully documented the procedures which addresses a number of aspects and different stages in the judging process, and including that also includes the signing of a non-disclosure agreement. So effectively saying that, look, if you do come across an information that is only to be used for the assessment purposes, and it is not to be shared publicly or otherwise by those judges. Judges make their assessment based on the content provided in submission application. No contact with the proponent is to be made to seek clarification or obtain further information. This is basically to ensure that there is a consistency and everyone gets the equal opportunity. And then when the award closes, and that's about it. That's it. We can't entertain any additional information on that submission. And therefore, it is good to have your submissions reviewed by your senior management and make sure that there is an internal quality review checks before they are submitted to ASCI. So the judges are allocated the categories according to their expertise. And if someone has done work in procurement field, for example, then they are more likely to be able to assess the procurement submissions as opposed to, let's say, military supply chain submission and things like that. The chair of the judging panel is responsible for ensuring the integrity of the judging process and ensuring that judging is conducted in a fair and efficient manner. The chair will work with the judging panel members to adjudicate as may be required. So I mentioned that in case there are situations where we need to adjudicate, and then that's where the chair of the judging panel would be coming in. So that's how the judging panel. Now, if any of you who is currently interested in being part of the judging panel, I think Monique has um, perhaps announced that people can send their expression of interest and with their experience and bio, and then we can then formulate a suitable judging panel across all the categories. And I think there is a ASCI 2021 advisory board, and the announcement has gone to them as well. And they're all very senior, experienced professionals, and it will be good to have a very high quality judges. And you could send to EOI to the secretary at asci.org.au. I think Monica just send a note on the chat box. Okay, let's move on. Okay, here we have a testimonial, I should say. This is from the winner of the awards from 2019. And prior to this webinar, Monique had a chance to speak with some of the award winners, and so we wanted to bring from their words, in their words, what they see the benefit of achieving the industry award status. So Ellen is the customer satisfaction and quality director in Schneider Electric's global supply chain customer experience division. And what she says is that the team has experienced some publicity, the trade media articles, podcast interviews, invitations to present at the industry events. The trophies are the talking point with the customers. So obviously it generates that interest across your customer base. And the awards raise community awareness of the best practice and give feedback to the supply chain community. So I think that's a contribution they could make to the other parties, and who can follow those the best practices. The next one is, again, so what do the corporate leaders do, let's say in 2021 for the award submissions? Again, she says, this is just a picture of the Schneider Electric's, the representative who received the award. On the left is the ASCI president, Henry, and then we have the CEO, Ivan, who was standing at the stage. Um, so what Alan says is that how do we get a winning entry in that sense, or I would say the entry that is really meeting the requirements. So demonstrate the customer benefits. So she focuses on the customer benefits of and what the outcomes have been, and ensure that the submissions are written as a customer facing. So that means anybody who's reading that would really have the customer in mind, saying that, okay, yes, you did these improvements, you had these initiatives. Okay, how does it help your customers, and or even in some cases, how does it help your suppliers, right? So effectively your entire business community and their stakeholders therein, what the benefits are. Now she says there's a provide a video of your script. Now look, we don't sort of say yes or no for that. The videos sometimes become more visible for the judges to assess what has been happening, and they certainly add to the main submission. They can be part of the content, and you could have a PowerPoint presentation, you could have a slide, you can have an animation. So we are not restricting that what it could be, but then what we look for is at least a 1,000 words submission, which articulates that what this project was and how you went about doing it, and so on and so forth against that criteria. And then these things can be um, additional content, additional supporting information that would help. And ensure that, now this is the last point, is very important. I must say that it's not just somebody sitting in a particular function and just is shooting their submission, but make sure the submission, it has a corporate approval, so that any information that you submit is also not competitive and sensitive information. This is just to protect the organization themselves, making sure that the statement or they don't have any implications, legal or otherwise. On our side, we have a very strong. We take the information security very seriously, and we have a dedicated uh, place in terms of the records records related to these award submissions in one place, and which are only accessed by a couple of people. So I think it's important that that point is also taken into account, and there is a good quality review and executive approval before the submission is made. So I believe that would be quite helpful for some of you who might be interested in putting a award entry. So the next one is, I think, very quickly, the award nominations are, Monique, I think, is they open on 1st of August, close 31st of October, and new online submission process via awards page on ASCI 2021 conference website, as you can see there. And judging of submission will commence soon thereafter. And then it's interesting. I mean, this year we kind of have to cross the Christmas and New Year sort of January period. So the judging process is starting from 1st of November to 31st of Jan. So we'll do our best. The production of the awards, like trophies, printing certificates, and by 15th of February, and the award night 23rd of February, which is the first day of the conference at the William Inglis Hotel in Sydney. Yep, that's the promo for the conference, and you will see more details coming from ASCI through its channels about that.